The Warriors needed to respond in game two after their terrible loss in game one, an insane loss in game one. The fourth quarter, especially for the Celtics, was red hot, and they needed to respond, and they needed to respond quickly, or else they would have been 2-0 down. And respond they did, led by Steph Curry's 29 points. Draymond Green's performance, which did not really show on the stat sheet, but he was incredible in this game. And their defense, which restricted Boston Celtics to just 88 points. All about game two in today's episode. Let's talk about this game. Just finished a couple of hours ago. Warriors winning 107 to 88. Steph 29 points. Jordan Poole 17. Looney got 12 points. He was missing in the game. He was missing in the first game. Tatum responded to 28 of his own points, but Jalen Brown had 17, out of which I think 13 came in the first 5 minutes of the game. So he pretty much had an off night. And the Warriors defense looked like the Warriors defense we knew from the regular season, one of the best in the league. And they needed to respond, and responded it. What adjustments did you see in this game that were not there in game one, and how do you think the Warriors just convincingly won this game?
Yeah, first of all, the Celtics just folded in the second half. It's quite
Yeah.
the opposite of what happened in the first half. The Warriors made adjustments, man. It's the same adjustments you'd expect them to make, because what the Celtics did in game one wasn't a tactical masterclass. There were a few slip-ups here and there from the Warriors. But frankly, can you even call them slip-ups? Like, who expects Horford and Derek White to go
Yeah.
off like that, right? So it happens. It's like that. Remember that game where the Lakers beat the Clippers, and it was, I don't even remember his name now. The guy who missed the bubble, the 3-and-D guy who hit like 7 threes in that game, and they won that match. Yeah,
Was it
exactly.
Bradley?
I think so. I think it was Avery Bradley. So, but exactly. See, we don't even remember his name. We're not even sure. That's the kind of player that beat. No, I mean, I don't want to shit on Hofford too much, but he is a bit of an out of syllabus subject, as was Derek White. But you did see some more heat on Hofford on that corner three. That's like
Right.
it made some impact. The Warriors showed some respect. Also, it didn't help that Hofford in general was just had a complete off night, which frankly, didn't we all expect that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think he even attempted a single three, did he?
yeah,
I mean,
no, he didn't. No.
they pressured him, and
Yeah,
Horford is
that's
the
it,
guy who
and
takes
that's
open
it.
shots,
Yeah,
and he
correct,
did not
correct.
get anything open today.
Yeah, and that took away a bit of that X factor. And then I thought they defended. I thought they defended both the guards particularly well, Brown and Tatum. Now Tatum
Yeah.
being Tatum still went off from three. That's where he got the bulk of his points. But I thought they did a good job on him, and they really made him pay on the defensive end too. I don't think Tatum had quite the
Yeah.
game that he was hoping to have.
Yep, we
And
finished with plus minus of minus
yeah, yeah,
36, which is
yeah.
the lowest ever in an NBA Finals in history.
Yikes. Okay, then. Wow. Ouch. So there you go.
Yep,
Yeah, but no
yep.
support, man. There's just Derek White still got in a few threes here and there, but too little, too late. He just had no support. Golden State defended better, took out all of the other X factors. They said it's the good old way, right? You said this guy's not going to beat me, this guy's not going to beat me. All right, you go ahead. Except they flipped it. Normally, you do that to superstars. You say, okay, James Harden's not beating me. Get the ball out of his hands. I'll live and die by PJ Tucker shooting 7 threes in the Rockets team or whatever. Here it was the other way around. Like Al Horford and Derek White are not beating me one more time in this series. Get the ball out of their hands. Let Jason Tatum shoot. They pull it off. And look, it helps that Warriors, by the way, had their own woes. The defense won them this game. I know they caught fire here and there from three, and Jordan Poole came to the party and all that. But two things that were noticeable was they still stick with this Clay as the starter version, as they should. I'm not by any means suggesting Clay should be benched. But sometimes I feel like there's a bit of it's too late in the season to sit on pride. That's my take. It's too late in the season to sit on ceremony. I thought Clay could have been moved out a little earlier when he was just stinking it up. Shots weren't going in, just not his night. They could have maybe experimented a little more with the backcourt. I get that Jordan Poole is horrible size mismatch against the
Yeah,
Celtics, and defensively they'll just toy around with him.
yeah,
But this is the second half we're talking about. They could have, I felt, maybe brought in Poole a little early. I mean, no harm, no foul. They won the game in the end, but in closer games, all these things will begin to pay. because Clay was atrocious. His shooting was
Yeah,
just
he was atrocious.
terrible.
In the fourth quarter, when the benches were emptied and all the reserves were on the court, Clay was still playing because I think Kerr wanted to get him a few shots and
Yeah,
bring his
right.
confidence up. But even those were not going, and he ended up with four
Yeah,
of 19 or something of that
yeah,
sort.
boy.
He was just nothing was going, and he was
Yeah,
missing layups as well. After threes were not going, and he was driving and not making those either. Fortunately, he got
yeah,
two free throws at the end that made him double digit. Landed him the double digit score line. But yeah, he had a bad night. But I think he was great on defense. He was guarding Tatum for a long time, and I think he made, like you said, he made life tough for Tatum. And
yeah.
Jalen Brown, he got 13 of his 17 points in the first 6 minutes of the game, if I remember. He went
Yeah, and
off
then it's
three of
just
three. Yeah, and then Draymond got into his head. They got into a little bit of altercation, and then Jalen Brown didn't look like Jalen Brown. He seemed
again
it.
this close to getting tossed. By the way, Draymond, yet
Yep,
another game.
yep, yep. He plays around with that line, right? I mean, you know that there's a limit that the referees will take, and he toys around with that. I think he was really good. Just finished with 9 points, 7 rebounds,
No, it's
but
amazing.
he was really good on defense. You
Yeah,
could see right from I think the first minute where he just was aggressive on Horford, got a jump ball right away, and then you knew that okay, Draymond is locked in for this game. This is not going to be another bad Draymond Green game, because if he had a bad game, then the Warriors would have been 2-0 down, because you know that
yeah,
Steph would go and get his 30 points, which he did. So Draymond needed to show up, and he did, and he had a great game. And Looney as well. He finished with 12 points, 6 of 6 shooting. Obviously, those six were like dunks and lobs to
yeah.
him, but efficient. I mean, that's what you expect of Looney. You don't expect him to get a 25-point game. 12 points, 7 rebounds. I think we'll live with that. Great game for Looney. Poole, like you said, showed up. And GP2 returned today, and he was great on defense as well. Was efficient, got three
Yeah.
shots, 3 out of 3. Did his job well. And pretty much everyone except Clay, I think, did their jobs well, which pretty much sealed the game for the Warriors today. I think the turning point for me in this game, if you look at the turnovers, the Warriors just had like 12 turnovers. The Celtics had 18 turnovers. The Warriors had 15 steals, by the way,
Yeah.
and 33 points of those 18 turnovers that the Celtics made. The steals leading to turnovers leading to the points of turnovers. That's where the game was won. I mean, such a big swing in that stat category,
Yeah.
because everything else seems uh, bang on. I mean, they're equal. They're matched evenly
Including
throughout.
threes,
Like
right? Like every
yeah,
shot, every
15 of
attempt was
37.
matched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, exactly. 15 of 37 on that. The field goals, I think the Warriors were a little higher, but everything else was like equally matched. It was this points of
Yeah.
turnovers that swung the game for the Warriors,
I,
and that showed in their great defense today.
I think incredibly turnovers might just decide this entire series because this Warrior side is so good, and this is with a struggling Clay, with a Jordan Poole that they're not too enthusiastic about giving mad minutes. He's a bit of a Tyler Hero situation where defensively, oh my god, but then attack wise,
Yeah.
solid. It's probably exactly he's the Black Tyler Hero, but I think turnovers have been that one chink in the armor, that one thing that gets exposed every now and then. Because whenever they lose back because turnovers were just out of
Yeah.
control for the Warriors. And more than I love the steals, reminiscent of what Miami did earlier on in the playoffs. I love that. Points of turnovers is a given if they get turnovers in their favor. The Warriors have amazing transition offense, and this every team goes down in transition. There's lobs, there's strong finishes at the rim. With the Warriors, it's like everyone can pull up from wherever in
Yeah.
transition. So that gives them just that
Yep.
added edge. But I think even more than the turnovers they got, maybe they don't get that every game. Maybe they don't get as many steals. Celtics will be a little more careful with the ball. But so long as they can limit their own turnovers and not give away cheap points, this is a tough team to beat. I thought the Celtics
Yep.
shot the three pretty well on the
Yeah.
night.
41% almost.
Yeah, it was, but you got no shot. Like I said, it's the wrong team to be going into, with that strategy of we're going to outshoot them from beyond the arc. And today it showed all they were to do is retain their usual discipline on defense, limit their turnovers, and then anything else is a bonus over and above that.
Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, they just eliminated their X factors. In the previous game, Smart, Horford, and Derek White combined for 15 threes of 23 attempts. 15 of 23, by the way.
Yeah.
And today they combined for 16 points, and that was the difference. So Marcus Smart just had two, by the way. Where was he? I even forgot that he played today. He just had 2 points
Yeah,
today.
that was an amazing disappearing act, by the way. I just realized now that you brought him up, I haven't even mentioned him. I don't remember him playing this game.
Yeah,
That was
I
nice,
mean, even
man.
on defense, right? He's usually the guy who's always on your best player, and he's fouling him and putting him in tough spots and whatnot. He just was not there today.
This is a tough
I don't
team,
know where he
though.
is.
It's a tough team to defend. This one, it's not
Yeah,
because
yeah,
usually you have that one or two alphas who can shoot off the dribble, who can do this and that and whatever. Like
Yeah,
if you're playing the Nets or say the Sixers, for instance, this year's Sixers, at their best, everyone fit. Embiid, somebody's got to pick him up, and then Smart has Harden. That's pretty much how it
yeah,
goes. Or Tatum, or one of them will rotate, but largely Smart has Harden. He knows what to do. Amazing offensive player, off the dribble, whatever. They're playing the Bucks. He knows he has Drew Holiday. And these are all players that can play make to a certain extent. Harden can play make to an excellent extent, but in general, playmakers to a certain extent. But they're good scorers. Someone's good at the step back three. Somebody's good at mid range, going to the left. All of that. These are things that you can learn. These are things that you can try and contain, try and mitigate. With the Warriors, first the range is unlimited.
yeah,
Then their offense is so fluid. It's also something that's been steady for so long, philosophically, that it's
yeah.
sort of like going up against Phil Jackson's triangle. It's been set for
Hmm.
too long. You're still kind of developing your defense against that. So there's so much off the ball movement, screens and double screens, staggered screens. Then on top of that, people can shoot off the dribble. Steph Curry can dribble the ball. Probably only and only Kyrie Irving handles the ball better than Steph Curry, and even that's an argument. So it's a little tough. It's a little too much to ask of Marcus Smart. But if anyone can do what he is, he should be the guy. Couldn't do it
Yeah,
tonight. But
defensive player of the year for a reason.
fuck off. What a travesty.
But if you had to go into this game predicting a winner, I think you would have picked the Warriors because, especially after the game one loss, you knew that the desperation would show in this game, and
Series would have
you would
been
have,
over.
yeah, you would have penciled in a Warriors win. So it was more like a job well done,
Yeah.
job expected to be done, job well done. Now going to Boston for Game 3 and Game 4, what adjustments do you expect Boston to make so that they can counter this Warriors? And as you always said, the playoffs is it's like a chess game, right? I mean, it's about adjusting to someone's adjustments. What adjustment do you see the Celtics making, and how do you think the Warriors will respond? Do you think they can get a game or maybe even two going to Boston?
Yeah, I thought there were as many there weren't that many strategic misses so much as just they had a bad night. A lot of players didn't shoot it very well, and they had turnovers. It's tough to come back from that, despite their amazing three shooting. It's tough to come back from that. If I'm not wrong, I think the Boston offense generated more shots than Golden
Mm-hmm.
State also, but just it didn't work out because too many turnovers. They gave away cheap points, easy points, whereas they had to work to get their points because they had to generate an offense each time. I think they've got to do what the Warriors did in game two, which is first limit turnovers. That's step one to anything. In the playoffs, nothing will crush you worse than cheap turnovers and not being able to get rebounds. These are the two things that
Yeah,
will just, the softer aspects of the game, but they'll ruin your chances. They've got to get those. Um, if they can do that, I think they can still take the fight to the Warriors. If I were Udoka, I'd be looking to keep Clay on the court as much as possible. He's not having a good run of form. I know the risk is he'll have that one Clay game where he goes off, but you're up against it anyway. So keep Clay on the court as much as possible. If Jordan Poole comes, attack, attack, attack. They've got to target Jordan Poole the way teams target Luka or James Harden or any other
yeah.
attacking player with very little to no defense. That's got to be the strategy. That and try and get guys open again for three. I think Harford, etc., got a little too much attention. Can you maybe tweak the rotation, get others open for three? I think that can be explored. But by and large, just
You
limit those turnovers,
mhm.
man. This is you can't survive with that.
Are you picking the Celtics or the Warriors for this game?
Warriors. I'm next game Warriors for sure.
Okay, okay. I don't know. It's going to be it's the matchup where you get the lead in the series, right? So
Yeah,
and Celtics have that slight advantage because they're playing at home, but they've not had a great home run in this playoffs. They've won more away games than home games.
yeah.
So I don't know if that home advantage counts for a lot. The Celtics crowd is known to be loud and boisterous. So uh,
Eh, that's the thing, though, right? These guys have seen so many of these crowds, the Golden State
yeah,
teams, that
yeah,
it's whatever. I think there's
yeah.
more
That's
riding on the look. If you're Jason Tatum, you're already the preeminent superstar on that franchise. I don't know. I don't know how much hunger he has. He's quite stoic that way. It's tough to read him.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
quite sure how much hunger he has because I mean he's repping Kobe. It's got to count for something. But he's already established himself this season firmly as he's the man. Now this is his team, now undisputed, like Embiid did in Philadelphia, right? Then he got this team to a finals. He's got them to a bunch of conference finals as a baby in the league, and then now here
yeah.
he is in the finals, and he's 20 what 3 something like that. He's got his
20,
whole
yeah, 24, I think. Yeah,
whole life ahead of him versus Steph Curry, back-to-back MVPs or whatever, two-time MVP, whatever he has. One of them, the only unanimous MVP ever. Threes don't even start. Greatest shooter, undisputed, all time, blah, blah, blah. Redefined the game, redefined the position, did all that. Won 3 rings in 4 or 5 trips to the finals. That's a staggering profile. And yet people are going to say without KD you're nothing, without this guy you're nothing. Iggy saved your ass. LeBron
Yeah,
exposed you that season. And he's got limited chances. I think there's a lot more riding on the line for Steph because he's walking that tightrope. On one side is your career's brushed aside. I mean, it's acknowledged, but not to the extent that it should be, which is he should be a top 10 all-time minimum guy in
yeah,
recognition. On the other side is maybe top 5, maybe top 3 undisputed. I don't know. 1 chip, 2 chips, you're really in the conversation now. So,
yeah.
I think he's got more to lose than Tatum and more experience. That's kind of why I'm banking on the Warriors.
Agreed, agreed. I think Steph seems locked in. I think he really is fighting like he
He's the
wants
only
that
guy
finals
that's locked.
MVP just to.
Him and Draymond,
Yeah, I
that's about it,
mean
man.
him and Raymond. I mean that's all you need. Sometimes it's a 2-on-5 game because they're passing to each other, setting screens for each other, and then
Yeah,
Steph
yeah.
is shooting.
No,
It's
absolutely.
2-on-5 with one person scoring all the points as well. So
Yeah.
it's fun to watch. But as always, great fun talking to you. That's all on today's episode. I'll catch you after game 3 on Wednesday.
All right, man. Cheers.
See you.